have Power 10 under 10 na hii ni car story. This is Power 10 under 10 na hii ni car story. So today we are delighted to have one amazing guest. He will be telling us about himself in a few, but then remember to like, share and subscribe because this content comes to you absolutely free at no cost. All you have to do is like, share and subscribe. How are you doing, Mr. Gary?
Fine, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
All right, so you can tell us your name, maybe where you're from.
Right.
All right.
I'm Gary Critter. I'm from the UK.
Yes.
And we moved back here
Yep.
to Kenya 3 years ago.
3 years
and a
ago.
half years ago.
Yep.
And in the UK, I've worked for different television companies,
Yep.
and including Formula One and Discovery and the BBC.
Yep.
But I'm into cars.
Yep.
I've raced single-seaters in the UK.
Yep.
And I worked for Formula One for 5 years.
Yep.
And I did pit lane camera
Yep.
and slow motion replays for the last year. And in the meantime, where we lived in just outside London, a place called Shepperton, I used to organise a monthly classic car show. Car get together in one of the local car parks.
Yeah.
And since we've been here, we've been doing the same.
Yep.
We were in Westlands for a year, and then we moved here to Tigoni, so we've been doing that for 2 years.
Yep.
And we were at the Kentamere Club.
That's right.
For 2 years.
Yep.
But recently we've just moved to just up the road here to the Limuru Country Club.
All right.
Where we get a really good turnout. They're very good to us.
Yeah.
They let us use their cricket pitch
All right.
to park the cars on.
Yep.
They supply food and drink. And it's nice to see people getting together
Yep.
and bringing their cars out,
All right.
which is nice,
Yep.
which maybe some people don't tend to do.
Yeah.
You hear of these stories of people having 6, 10,
Yep.
15 cars
Yep.
and they don't use any of them.
That's right.
At least with us, we get people to bring their cars
Yeah,
out and
yeah.
run them,
All right.
even if it's only once a month.
Yep.
So yeah, it's nice, and it's getting bigger and bigger,
Yep.
which is what we want to do.
That's right.
And we just want to take it from there. So it's normally the last Sunday of the month.
Yep.
So we'll just keep doing that, see where we go.
Yeah. All right. We will be getting into details in a few, but then I just want to ask a funny question. You've been in Kenya. You're driving a left-hand car. I've seen this. How is the experience on Kenyan roads in the UK, maybe other places?
I've had left-hand drive American cars
Yep.
in the UK,
Yep.
and obviously the UK is the same as Kenya.
Yeah.
But it's not a problem if you're sensible. I know when some other people were looking to buy this car.
Yeah.
It's a 1973 Beetle.
Yep.
And it's a left-hand drive.
Yeah.
And I know it put off at least 2 people
Yep.
from even looking at it, let alone buying it, because it's left-hand drive. Well, to me, it doesn't make any difference.
You're used to driving this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're sensible,
Yeah.
you should be all right. So, and I've not had any bad experiences at all yet. Touch wood. Yeah. No, it's okay.
I remember sometimes like you told me, actually Kenyan roads are much, much better than some of the roads out there. How's the experience with rough drivers in London and other places?
Yes, you have got to be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
Probably everyone knows that. Just to be a bit careful when you're driving a normal car,
Yeah.
let alone this. As I say, you just got to be sensible
Yep.
and think ahead. What's that guy going to do?
Yeah.
Rather than if you're in the UK,
Yeah.
you know that they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, overtaking on the wrong side of the road. In the UK, you never ever do that.
All right.
Ever. But so here you've got to compensate and think extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll be getting to classic cars, but before that, we have a difference between car guys and car enthusiasts. Over the time you've been doing these classic car shows, how many enthusiasts have you had to talk about?
Lots.
Yep.
You'd be surprised at the amount that people know.
Yep.
Especially, like I've said, you talk to people, and one of the questions I always ask is, so what cars have you got?
Yeah.
And it'll be, I've got a couple of Volkswagens.
Yeah.
I've got a bus, something else, and then you get into a bit of a conversation with
Yep.
them, and they do know their stuff.
Yeah.
So they're proper enthusiasts. Yeah. And when you get down to sort of what sort of trim the car should have, and they'll go, that's wrong. It should have a different.
Yeah.
So people do know.
All right.
It's good.
You've been in the UK, you're organizing these events. Maybe what is the contrast between the UK and Kenya?
For a start, in the UK, there are more cars
Yeah,
and they're looked after.
yeah,
Some people will only literally take them out when
Yeah.
it's above 75 degrees. I don't look at it that way. All cars are there to be used
Yeah.
and enjoyed.
Yeah.
What's the point in having it in the garage or in the compound
Yeah.
if you're not using it?
That's true.
You know, it's a waste.
Yeah.
You might as well just sell it and have the money
Yeah.
for what you're doing with the car. So no, there's lots more cars in the UK,
Yeah,
and they use them more,
yeah,
definitely. Because in the UK, every weekend from May
yeah,
right through to like October,
yeah,
you can go to a car show every weekend,
yeah,
and some of those car shows are 2 or 3 days.
yeah,
Whereas here we've got the concourse,
yeah.
and it's one day,
One day.
and there's nothing,
Yep.
hardly anything else at all, is there?
Yeah, nothing.
Which is a shame,
Yeah,
you know. So what do those people do with all those cars over here
Just
after
park
the
them
concourse?
pack them at home
That's it.
and wait for the next event.
That's right. Which is why I'm trying to do our events to get people to
To bring them out.
yeah,
Yep.
simple.
You have different events. You have the all Volkswagens,
Yep,
and you have the Classica events. How's the turnout between the two events?
To be honest, probably equal. We've done the all Volkswagen event twice now.
Yeah.
It's once a year.
Yep.
And last year was bigger than the first one.
From
That was 45 cars, I think,
Yeah.
over the day.
Yep.
And likewise for the normal just classic car get-togethers, it's about the same.
Yep.
When we went to the country club the other week, it was a bit bigger,
Yep.
but I think that was because of the venue.
Yep.
So no, it's about the same.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to look at now doing the Volkswagen twice a year
Twice a year. All right.
instead of once a year,
Yeah.
every 6 months. So May, November.
All right.
So we've got that coming up in a few months. And because last week at the country club, there was more Volkswagens than anything else anyway. And it wasn't a Volkswagen event.
It was.
No, so that was good.
All right. You've had previous events where there were almost all Mercedes, Mercedes Benzes.
Yeah.
You've had events where there were almost all Fords. So why haven't you thought of having a Ford event, Mercedes event?
It just gets, because it's only me that does the organising.
Yeah.
So it just gets a little bit too busy. And the other thing was, you can organise an event.
Yeah.
And it takes time because I'm not being paid for it.
Yeah.
And then let's say we do a Ford.
Yeah.
You might only get 6 cars.
Yeah.
And you spent 2-3 weeks
Planning.
organising, exactly,
Yeah.
planning, and then you get 6 cars.
It's quite a shame.
Yeah. Mercedes, we get more than that,
Yeah.
obviously. Even Peugeots,
Yeah.
perhaps. But no, I just like to keep it open to everyone
All right.
because then you get more people. Yeah.
All right. During your events, have you had people bring in new cars and you find them having such an interest in old cars, or people just driving in old
Oh,
cars?
definitely.
Yep.
Yes, people, even if they, for my events, you don't have to come in a classic car. You can come in a modern car
Yep.
and just park over there, sort of thing, and come over and have a chat.
Yep.
You know, and likewise, we've had it where people come up in a new car, but they've got an old car at home that they want to restore, but they haven't started yet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the good things from the events, is you can meet so many people that have got parts, they're mechanics, they have workshops,
Yeah.
people that you've never met before,
True.
and that will give you the impetus to start on your car. And you
Yeah.
might have had it in your compound for 5 years and not touched it.
True.
And they'll come back and go, right, okay, now we've got someone, I'll give him a ring next week and we'll start the car.
Yeah.
And start working on it. So that's good.
All right.
You know.
Talking of Kenya, I know we quite have some few characters in your events. Have you had people maybe sit in people's cars, maybe start them without the owner's
Yes,
consent?
I mean, we did have, you don't do that. In the UK, you do not do that.
You don't do that.
You
Yep.
do not sit on someone's car, you do not get in it.
Yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely. But over here, I think it's a bit more relaxed. So you have to not lower your sights, but be a little bit more relaxed about things.
All right.
But you have to be a bit careful, you know, because it is your car.
Yep.
If someone starts sitting on the bonnet in some high heels
Yeah.
and leave a few marks, I'm not going to be very happy.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
you know, that's what people do. So you just have to be a bit sensible. Again, you've got to be a bit sensible. Yeah.
Where you organize these events with the management and everything, have you ever had people misbehaving during the events?
Not really. We do have the odd person who will try and do a burnout or a donut on their way out, which is no good, because that sort of thing people don't like, because it makes a noise, it leaves a mark on the grass or wherever you are, on the cab roads. That's the sort of thing that means you don't get asked back, and that's not good, because I have spent time talking to these people to use their venues, and then that happens,
You're not going
that's
back
the end
there.
of it.
Yep.
Which is no good. So now and again, but not very often.
All right. There's a difference between fixing a car and restoring.
Yeah,
How many fully restored cars have you seen in Kenya?
a few, but I think what people do here is they'll get a car and they'll just run it and they'll enjoy it. Maybe they haven't got enough money to restore the car, which is fair enough. It's down to you. It's down to your personal choice and your pocket, how deep your pocket is. Yeah, we've seen quite a few restored nice cars, especially at the concourse, obviously, because that's what it's all about. But there's a few. We do get a few at the get-togethers, which is always nice to see. But I don't mind people just bringing a car like this that's not been restored, but is running and usable. Bring it. It doesn't matter.
All right.
At least you're getting it out and enjoying it. That's the point.
All right.
And I was going to say before, for my events, there's no charge. There's no admission price. If you want to, at the venues wherever we are, if you want to buy something to eat or a cup of coffee or a beer, that's down to you and the venue. That's nothing to do with me.
It has nothing to do.
So so that's nice. I think people like that.
Nice. So we have a difference between old cars and classic cars.
Yes.
Most people don't get that.
No.
What will you say is the difference between an old car, maybe from a 1991, and maybe a 1991 classic car?
Well, I don't think there's a classic car from 1991 yet. It's too new. It's too new.
91 is too recent.
Yeah, it's too new, because they're full of electronics and stuff like that. Whereas this, there's absolutely none. There's just the wiring loop for the lights. So really, I think a classic car goes back to about, if I'm pushed, the mid 70s, back and older. Anything newer is just an old car. That's it. People think that a 1995 Mercedes is a classic car, but it's not.
It's not.
It's just an old car. It's not a classic yet. Whether it will be a classic in the future, that depends. But no, they're not classics yet, in my eyes.
But then you don't, you still allow them to come to events? Because they're old cars.
Yes. And people like them. I'm not going to turn people away. But maybe in the future, what we might have, we'll have the classic car section and old car section.
All right. Talking of that, you also do antiques, classic car collections?
Automobilia.
All right.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's I've been doing that over here. We get all our things from the UK. They're like old models, ceramics, mugs, pictures, whatever I can find with a classic car. Connection, key rings, whatever, which you'll see a bit in a little while. And of course you get some of my models that we sell are 45, 50 years old. And they are, because some of them have got the dates on them. So I had a guy at the country club last week look at my stuff, and I said, that model's 40 years old. And he said to the girl next to him, no, it's not. And I said, excuse me. And I picked it up, and he had the date on it, and it was 1983. So that's 40 years old.
True.
So I said, so what do you think now? And he just didn't say anything. So our stuff is vintage. And we've got older things, much older things than that, which people over here haven't seen ever. Fair enough. So we're getting them. You've got to find them in the UK. You've got to look for them. I've got a couple of friends that sort of look out for stuff for me, and we send them over 3 or 4 times a year. And it's always fun, because you never know what you're going to find. Stuff that people have had at home for like 40 years, they now, I don't need that anymore. And they just sell it, whatever. And that's where we come in.
All right.
And it's a bit of fun.
So if a person wanted to buy these antiques and collections and the models, where do they find them?
They find me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook Instagram is Gary Critter Automobilia,
All right.
and Instagram is Vintage Automotive Collectibles Nairobi.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we sell stuff. I normally list stuff 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Depends on what we've got. And it's surprising the number of people that do buy things online.
Yep.
You buy things online anyway.
Yep.
So what's the difference between me and Amazon or Jumia or whatever? There's no difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're just looking at pictures and saying, yes, I'll buy it.
Yep.
And then they send me the money on M-Pesa. And then either they'll send a bike or we deliver it or whatever. Yeah. I mean, we've sold stuff to people in Mombasa, Kitale,
Yeah.
Naivasha, all the time. So people love it.
And
You know, and where are you going to find that stuff if you don't come to me?
Yep.
You literally can't buy it.
You
anywhere.
can't find it,
You
yeah.
literally can't. I'm not joking.
Yeah. So once they get this, you pack it via Wells Fargo, or what do you do?
That's right.
All
Exactly
right.
that. Yeah. Wells Fargo's nice and easy. We've got a place in Namuru, so that's easy. That's a boda to the office. Yeah, no problem.
All right. When selling these things, have you come across cons?
Yeah. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
not really. I've had people say to me, "Can you deliver to CBD
Yeah.
if you want, but it's going to cost
Yeah.
because it's on a boda
Yeah.
from here." And I had one guy, for instance, for an example, say, "I like your models. I want to buy some." Oh, lovely. Okay. So he said, so I sent him a load of pictures. How much are they?
Yeah.
So I sent him the prices, and he said, "Okay, can you send me 10 on a boda,
Yeah.
and I'll decide what I want?" No.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
I said, "No, the way it works is you look at the pictures, you decide what you want, you pay me, then I'll put them on a boda, and you..."
You get them.
And his reply was, "Well, how do I know what I want if I haven't seen them?" And I said, "Well, everyone else does it that way."
Yeah.
I said, "Do you buy things on Jumia?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "So what's the difference?" The difference was he was trying to con me out of the,
Yeah.
of the pieces. It was obvious that
Yeah.
I was going to put them on a boda, get them delivered,
Yeah.
and then he tells me they've never arrived.
That's true.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Come on. So, and of course after that I didn't hear back from him.
Yeah.
So it was obvious, wasn't it? Come on. I'm not stupid.
All right. Talking of that, we also have we've had experiences in the past. I've seen them online. People overpricing. You know, people from the UK, from other places. Have you had an experience with that?
You mean the Automobilia?
No. General life. You go to buy something at a hotel, a cafe.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not too bad, to be honest. For a start, the guy that sold me this was very fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do think that if someone else had walked in and asked to buy the same item instead of me,
Lovely.
what would be the price?
All right.
It probably wouldn't be the same amount.
True.
But you get used to it after a while and you just go,
Now, before we get to your books, maybe let me ask another question still on the same topic. I remember when I rang you at first, I didn't know you are from the UK.
yeah.
And then I'm like, I just have to see a normal African person who organizes car events. And then when I rang you at the club,
That's right.
and then I heard your voice, I was like, no, this is not an ordinary person. So have you had those responses, maybe even from people who are buying them?
No, they can normally tell by my voice, to
Yep.
be honest, obviously. That's the giveaway to start with.
Yeah.
No, everyone's been fine.
Yep.
Yeah. No, everything's been all right.
All right. And have you ever had an experience where you want to buy something, but then you have to use another person?
Oh, yeah.
You've done that? Because you know, obviously, when you go, they'll overcharge you, or maybe they'll do something. All right, that's quite nice. You've written books.
Yes.
Yep. Because you've told us you've worked with Formula One and everything. So did you get photos of those?
My 2 books are photo books.
Yeah.
And they're archive. They're old pictures from. I think the oldest we used in the 2 books was 1956.
Yeah.
They're all motor racing or motorsport. There's some rallying. There's some obviously circuit racing, Formula One, whatever. So I've got an archive of old photographs.
Yeah.
The original negatives, and the original 35mm slides.
Yeah.
And I did it all myself, scanned them all on the computer, photoshopped them, if they need to be cleaned up.
Yep.
So we've done 2 books, 122 pages
Yeah.
each, colour and black and white, just anything. So there's no theme.
Yeah.
The only theme is their motorsport.
Motorsports.
So you can have Formula One next to, you can have Formula One from 1971 right next to the 1962 RAC Rally,
Yeah.
or the Indianapolis 500 in America from 1976. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's exactly the way things used to be in the 60s and 70s when you were going to racing. You could go to Formula One weekend, and then you go to what we call a club event for people like you and I, if we had the money to race a car, the next weekend. So it's a complete mishmash of anything and everything.
Motorsports.
Yeah, but
Alright.
it's just motorsport.
So you've also featured Kenyan motorsports in that?
Yes, I did find, believe it or not, in because I've made TV documentaries too. Back in the UK, I found 6 original colour slides
Yeah.
that were motor race. It just said it was on eBay,
Yeah.
and it just said motor racing in Kenya. So, what's that? That's before we came here.
Yeah.
So I managed to buy them and put them in the first book.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, there's 6 pictures. 2 were taken at Nakuru
Right.
circuit in 1962. One's a bike, one's a car, and the other 4 were taken at the Brackenhurst Hotel just up the road
Right.
here.
Yep.
Unbelievable, which is like 2 miles away from where we live. Because they had up to about 1965 a hill climb,
Yep.
I've now found out, for 1 car at a time going up the drive,
Yep.
and they timed it. So we got 4 pictures from there,
Yeah.
colour, so we put them in the book. And then I have things like the 1961 Malaysian Grand Prix
Yeah.
from, what was the place in Malaysia?
Malaysia.
Yeah. So those are really unusual photographs, and that was a stack of maybe 15 pictures. So they're nice. Plus we got normal Formula One stuff, and none of them have ever been published.
Yep.
No one's ever seen them ever before.
True.
So they're unusual. And
Exclusive.
Yes, exactly. And I'm just at Christmas, I got hold of a publisher in the UK.
Yep.
We're going to do a 3rd volume,
All right.
which they're going to publish. But the first 2 are available from me
Yep.
only online,
All right.
and the books are called Shutter and Speed, and it's shutterandspeed.com.
Yep.
They're not expensive. They're about 3,000 shillings each.
Yep.
So it's not too bad. They're £15. Obviously, in the UK and whatever, I've got a guy doing the mail order.
Yep.
But from here, I can sell you the odd book. Yeah.
So you can sell from the UK as
And I've got some here as well, just in case.
Also, you have the hard copies here.
Yes.
All right. So if any person wants them, they can get them from you.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
What is the future of classic car events and vintage car events? Maybe.
Here?
Yep. Yep.
Well, there's got to be more. I don't understand why there aren't any.
Yeah.
Apart from the concourse, which we know has been going over 50 years.
Yeah.
That's a big event. And it's good, but it caters to a certain person and a certain car in that they're restored.
Yeah.
And that's what the concourse is all about.
Yeah.
You know, they're pristine. You can eat your dinner off the bodywork.
Yeah.
You can eat your lunch off the bodywork. That's the whole point of those cars. Whereas, so that leaves out a huge majority of people that don't have concourse
Yeah.
cars. So what are they doing? Well, they're doing nothing, as we know, because there's no events.
Yeah.
There might be the odd Volkswagen event. I know the Alfa Romeo group
Yeah.
do a monthly get together, like a lunch
Yeah.
on a Sunday. But other than that, there's nothing. Whereas for my events, it's just get everyone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're excluding. If you're only doing
Limiting it to that.
to Mercedes, there are thousands of other people out there that don't have Mercedes
Sure.
that can't come.
Yep.
So why? Let's just. All right, I do a Volkswagen, but that's just a bit of fun.
Yep.
So for my events, just anyone and everyone. I don't care what it is. It can be a car, it can be a bike, it can be a moped, it can be a truck,
Yep.
it can be a van. I don't care.
Provided it's
the
vintage.
more different stuff is better,
Yep.
because it's a bit of fun.
Yep.
And there's something different for you to look at. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the future is safe. We have cars that will
Fingers crossed.
cater for the guns.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe a piece of advice. There are people who fear driving their cars because they feel like Kenyan roads are rough
Yeah.
and everything. You've had that experience as well.
Yeah.
What will you tell these people who have these vintage cars but they never bring them out?
Well, there are. Where we are here,
Yep.
the roads to get here are absolutely fine.
Yep.
There's no unmade roads or anything. There's no mud, so that's all fine.
Yeah.
But yes, you have got to be a little bit careful where if you want to go out for a drive, you have got to be a little bit selective
Yeah.
on your route, haven't you?
True.
Even down to the number of speed bumps
Yeah.
you're going to be going, even down to that, let alone whatever. So yeah, but you can take your car out and give it a run on a quiet Sunday afternoon, say, can't you? Why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why for my events I try to keep them. How can I put it? Near roads that are quite good,
Yeah.
rather than driving off road for 3 kilometres. That's no good to anyone.
True. All right. Thank you very much for that. I hope we get more of your events. Maybe you'll tell them where they can know where your events are coming.
Absolutely. Oh,
So where do
I
you post
wanted to
them?
mention the Facebook group for the events.
Yeah, you can mention that as well.
So that's Kentimere Classic Cars
Kemper Classicers
on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yep.
Simple as that. Just look us up and join the group.
All right.
Yeah.
And you'll be telling them when you have your
That's
events.
the whole point of the group and we have a WhatsApp group as well.
All right.
The whole point of those two groups is just to tell people when the next event is.
True.
People do try and sell cars, bits and pieces, spare parts. That's fine as well.
All right.
One of the things I want to try and do with the event as well is to have an auto jumble.
Yep.
So if you've got some bits and pieces lying around your compound that you don't need anymore, no matter what it is, you can bring those and try and sell them.
Actually, talking of Auto Jumbo, you've had 2. Is it 2 so far?
Yeah.
And how was it?
It was okay. I don't think people have grasped the idea yet
Yep.
for it. But the thing is, I might charge for that. That might be like 500 shillings.
All right.
But that will go to like a charity.
True.
And then you have a chance to get rid of that pile of stuff that's sitting in the corner of your compound that you don't need, and you might make a bit of money out of it.
True.
So at least you've got rid of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. We are looking forward to the next events. I hope we'll get a turnout quite as good as you had the last one.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be telling us about your Beetle in a few. So what inspired you to get this Beetle?
Oh, I just like Volkswagens. There's lots of people like that. And it took a while. I've got another one around the corner that needs full restoration.
Okay.
This is a 1973. The
And
one
the other
I've got around the corner is a 69.
69.
This is a normal 1200 small engine, 1200cc. The other one is a 1500. So it's a bigger engine, a bigger gearbox.
Yeah.
So it's a quicker car, but it needs a full restoration.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting for some money to come in to start that. In the meantime, we can have a bit of fun with this.
All right. So this one, I've come to learn it's a Volkswagen jeans.
A jeans Beetle.
Jeans Beetle.
Yes,
So-
as in jeans.
Jeans, the jeans of the child.
Yeah, it's a special edition by Volkswagen between 1973 and 1976.
Yeah.
And it was a cheap car, new. That was the whole point. They were trying to encourage people like students to buy new cars from them, but people like students then couldn't afford a car. So it's expensive. So they built these cars down to a price by taking things off of it, like the bumper is not chrome, which makes the car cheaper to make and to buy.
Yep.
And there's no chrome trim on the side. The wheels are different. The interior is different.
All right.
It all brought the price down to buy it when it was new. So that was the point. And of course, they didn't. Alongside that, they were still making Beetles and vans like normal.
Yep.
So they didn't make many. They made quite a few, but not as many as a normal
Yep.
Beetle because they were churning them out. So now people are looking for these ones because they're rarer than a normal Beetle
Yep.
with a 1200 engine.
Yep.
So we think this one is the only one in Kenya like this because, as you said, it's a left-hand drive.
Yeah.
It's not a right-hand drive. We think we know of one other in Kenya, Jeans Beetle,
Yep.
but that's a right-hand drive. They were all this colour. Every Jeans Beetle is this colour. And they have little dots and things down the side
Yep.
that you've seen. That signifies a Jeans Beetle from a distance. You go, oh, it's Jeans. So, yeah, we don't think this. We think this is the only one in Kenya,
Kenya right now.
maybe East Africa,
Yep.
and maybe Africa.
Yep.
Only because it's left-hand drive.
Yep.
We think this came in 1975,
Yep.
and we think it must have been brought in by sort of the German embassy or someone working for the government because it's left-hand drive.
Yep.
Why would you bring in a left-hand drive car when you're right-hand drive everywhere?
Yep.
So yeah, but it's a bit of fun.
All right.
Yeah,
So, how do you feel when driving this and people are all like, "Hey"?
that's right. Or you give them a wave.
Yeah.
That's all part of it.
Yeah.
It's all part of having fun.
All right.
If people, give you a wave as you drive past, wave at them back.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good.
So, you've given us your social media handles where people can buy everything,
Yeah.
and we hope people will buy. People will appreciate the classic car culture.
And if you want to come to the car show, you don't forget you don't have to come in a classic car.
Yep.
You can turn up in anything. You might be parked in a separate place, but you can come and look at the cars. You can chat to everyone.
Yep.
If you're thinking of buying something, come and have a chat. If you want someone to do the electrics on your car, there will be people there.
True.
If they don't do it, they'll know someone who does.
True.
So it's all contacts. And it's fun.
All right.
Yeah.
So if a person wants to join the WhatsApp group, they just come to the event.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, and they get your number.
That's it.
All right. You'll be showing us your business card in a few, but I think for now we are done with the classic car culture in Kenya.
Yep.
Quite a lot you've shared. Quite a lot we've not even had time to talk about, but I think we'll be doing that maybe
Yep.
the next episode.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good.
You document some of the events maybe before we wind up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's normally, we haven't mentioned, it's the last Sunday of every month,
Yep.
and it's from midday onwards to about 5 or 6 o'clock when it gets dark. When people people can come and go anytime. They can turn up at 3 o'clock.
Yep.
They can turn up at 5 o'clock. If that's when they want to turn up, that's absolutely fine.
All right.
But normally from 12 o'clock onwards, we're there.
All right.
So that's, yeah.
All right. You also have a YouTube channel, maybe where you post about the Volksfest.
Yes.
So where can people see that?
That's just, you'll have to find that. That's Gary Critcher on
Gary Critcher.
YouTube.
All right.
And I think it's 3009. I had to pick a number
All right.
when I did the profile. I'll give you a link for that.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Good.
We're looking forward to seeing you next time. But that's it for today's
Good.
episode
Good to
of
see
Car Story. I don't know, maybe we call it Car Story because we do it just right next to a car. All right. Thank you very much for
Good, no
having
problem.
us. Until next time, see you guys.